Painting day 2.0 on the Great Pumpkin. Got the last time around, you saw block sanding this thing out. Did just the front fender to the more fill work. Went ahead and got the entire thing done about 10, 11 hours later. I think we're ready for our next coat of the high build primer. Now there's a few thoughts on this. Some people like to put 2 or 3 coats on to begin with. Block it, 1 pass and done. That probably works for people who are really good at body work. I consider myself okay and I get the job done. I just didn't trust that my body work was good enough that I could get everything filled in with multiple coats of high build. That's why I only did the 1 coat. Got it all blocked out. Evidently you can see some spots where I had to add some more filler. So maybe it would have covered up with a high build, maybe it would not have. But again, I don't like counting on high build primer just to do my body work. It's only there just to fill in the minor imperfections. So that's just my experience, my 2 cents. So do with that information as you see fit. This is how we do it the VVG way, and it works great for me, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. So what we're going to get into today, I'm going to show you I got this thing all blocked out, the good, the bad, and the ugly of how it came out. And now go ahead and show you how to maybe mix some of this paint up and put another coat, maybe 2 coats on this thing here, and it should be the last time we have to prime. Well, let's get you in here nice and close before I get the next layer of paint on this thing. But the quarter panel really didn't come out too bad. As you can see, it's mostly the yellow color, a few gray spots, a little tiny bare spot right there, bare metal. I'm not too worried about this go around because I've been reading on this stuff even more. Really like this stuff. So I'm going to showcase a little more how the mix is, how the stuff works. That is considered a direct to metal, has zinc in it, and bonds to bare metal, and it is perfectly fine for little tiny spots like that. Actually, they say the entire thing, but I'm feeling okay with that little bare spot there. You see one there on the trunk. Super small amounts of bare steel. I'm going to use that and try to cover this all up. But the reason I stopped sanding at a 10-hour mark is I really can't sand any more material because I'm going to cause more troubles. If we zoom in here really close to get you down here, you can see in the paint, gray primer. There's the dark color speckles poking through. That's where the paper never really cut that. So those are little tiny little imperfections. That should come out with 1 more coat of that high build primer. You can't even feel it, but what you see is a different story. Now I could have kept sanding with the block in between here and maybe got it, but I was afraid I was going to burn them through to bare metal. So that's why I decided to stop. And again, this is only just 1 coat of this high build primer. So the body work was really close to begin with. But now I'm really feeling confident when 1 more, 2 more coats of this primer, we'll be able to block the whole car 1 more time and get where we need to be. Door looks to be about the same. We got some spots. It's almost, you can see just a tiny bit of bare metal poking through in those areas there. So, again, 50-year-old door skin. Not exactly in perfect shape, but it's going to look good now. So I expected some stuff like that. Fender, we know we had during our block session for the video that I did, we needed to add some there and there and there. Got it all blocked out, but I completely 100% missed this right here. There was a low just divot. It was real close where the hood hinge bolts on. So I wonder if it took some kind of a hit at one point, but got it all laid out. Should cover up and do okay. But again, we're going to put some high build primer. And the hood, same thing. We got some high-low spots in it too, but I think I'll put 2 coats on the hood, 2 coats on the top of the fender. And any place that looks like this, maybe hit with 2 coats. But the parts that look like this, maybe just 1 coat. So what I'll probably do is mix with the paint, pick all the bad spots, put 1 coat on it, then we'll come through and coat the entire car with 1 even coat, then block this thing out. Now again, this is the first time I've used this stuff. I didn't really show a whole lot about it because I wasn't sure I really loved it yet, but now I'm really beginning to think I like it. I'm going to buy and use this stuff from now on. But there's a few things you want to know if you're going to try to use this product. Your paint gun, you really need a primer paint gun. It requires a 2.0 or 2.5 tip. Or larger, 2.0 to 2.5. I have 2.0 is the biggest that I got. And even then, it struggles to paint it because this stuff's like pretty thick. It doesn't flow the best, so that's why you need a larger tip on your paint gun. So I have a gun I use just for primer. I don't take the best care of it. I tried to clean it a whole lot better before I used it this time, so maybe it'll paint a little more gooder. That's what we're going to find out. And always use a strainer for your paint to collect chunks, especially once the can's been opened. You always got this little trash around the edge of it. And there's some few tips, and whatever, you prevent that. But that's what that's for. It works just fine. This has a little bit of hardener, of course, mask. And we're going to mix up some of this paint. I'm going to get the car wiped down and ready, and I'll show you how you lay a couple passes. Like I said, we're going to cover the really ugly spots first, and then coat the whole car with 1 even coat. Okay, let's talk about mixing this stuff up here. How they do this, of course, there's a gallon of stuff, a little tiny bottle of hardener. Now, the problem becomes is, well, it gives you broke up in quarters. So 4 quarts in a gallon, pretty self-explanatory. Dump a quart in here, dump 1 quarter of this bottle, and you're good. But if you want to go somewhere in between, well, you're guessing a little bit. But fortunately, first ground when I painted this car, I used a quart, covered the whole car with 1 decent coat. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna mix up one more quart, put the 32 ounces in here, dump 1/4 of this in there, strain it out, and of course put it in the paint gun. Let's start spraying. Now, of course, shake this stuff thoroughly and actually stir it up because it separates something fierce, especially sitting, and it actually kind of leaves a layer of sludge in the bottom. So I definitely recommend, like it says right on the jar, shake thoroughly. I'm going to try to get 32 ounces here. That should probably get us. All right, do that. And then we gotta squeeze 1/4 of this into there. Mix thoroughly, and let's paint. There we go. Load the gun and let the fun begin. Got a coat on all the really bad spots. One good coat on the hood, the spots on the fender, went ahead and hit the trunk deck and the spoiler. So I'll let this flash off just a little bit. You can see some shine to the primer there. Give that a few minutes and we'll go ahead and then coat the entire car. I did a little more on the 1/4 panel than I originally planned, but hey, no big deal. This stuff sands off if I need to be. But that's step one. Let this cure. Then we'll go ahead and hit the entire car with one good coat. All right, I ended up mixing up 2 entire quarts of that paint and got an entire, I'd say 1.5 coats to 2 coats on the entire thing now. And I don't find any of the spots like I did last time, right? Little number 4, missing dent. I think we finally got it all. I went ahead and put a good heavy coat on that spoiler. Hope that it'll block out. But basically, it's the point now. You just let this stuff cure for probably a couple days before I get some time to come back out here and play cars. But that should get us to the point. And then once I block this off, pending no problems, then we're ready to seal it and put some color on it. Now, of course, I said as if it's really just that easy. Well, that means if I was just going to paint the car on the outside, it's done. But I go one step further. We're going to block sand this. Now, keep in mind, if you're going to paint it in metallic paint, we're going to block this starting probably with 220, 320, 400, and stop about 600. Metallic paint in particular really needs a smoother surface. If it was a solid color paint, you could probably stop at 320 or 400 and be just fine. But being that I'm going with that autumn bronze, that's got metallic flake in it. So we're going to sand this thing super slick before we say it's ready to be sealed and painted. But I also got to take the car all back apart. You got to paint the door jambs, the fender jambs, pull it and do all the edging, and then bolt it all back together just so we can paint it. It seems like a lot of work, but I'll show you why when it's all done, why it's worth the extra effort to get that all taken care of. So nonetheless, round 2 of high build primer finished. Next wave, more block sanding, and I might just have another block party. Why don't you guys come out here and give me a hand with this, because it's just a long, tedious job and takes a lot of time. But nonetheless, we'll keep on plugging away. We're gonna make this thing shiny. We're gonna make it happen and get the interior done. We're on the home stretch of the Great Pumpkin. So appreciate you following me on that journey. I'll grab the camera and we'll catch you guys next time.